So at this time, I'd like to open the August 18th, 2020 Board of Public Works meeting. And I would ask if anyone besides LCAT is recording the meeting. Obviously, we would have to have somebody raise their hand. Given that it's via Zoom, anybody and everybody could be recording this meeting. So Bruce, is there anybody that's presenting themselves as recording the meeting?
Nope, there's nobody out in the audience raising their hand, but I'll be recording this on my computer because LCAT is not available to record this meeting, so they're not even recording it at this point in time. I'm going to hand this recording off to LCAT to post.
All right, thank you. So the roll call, myself, Thomas O'Brien is present. William Jelinas and Philip Hebert are also present. And the first, we're going to move right to the agenda. The first item on the agenda is reorganization of the Board of Public Works. And I would immediately entertain a motion to have Bill Jelinas take over as chairman and Philip Hebert take over as vice chair. And I would gladly assume the role of clerk. But I will pass it on to you guys for conversation. What do you guys think?
I think it's okay.
I guess I can live with that for a year.
Well, thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
So, Phil, would you like to make the motion? As
I'd like to make the motion to make Bill the chairman of the board and what did you say, myself, vice president or?
Vice chair.
Vice chair. I forget what meeting I'm in. Too many boards.
So moved. Any second?
I'll second it.
All right, I have a second. All those in favor, I'll do a roll call vote. Phil, since you're up, what say ye?
I say yes.
Bill, what's
Yes.
your vote? Yes,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. So the motion passes that Bill is the new chairman and Phil is the vice chair. So the next item on the agenda is to review and approve the minutes of the meetings from March 10th, 2020. Has everybody had a chance to look at those?
Yes.
Yeah, I have as well.
Yes, I look at them.
You guys have anything?
No changes here.
No.
So I'll entertain a motion to
I make
approve.
the 310 meeting minutes.
I believe you said motion to approve it. So so move, or any second, Bill?
I'll second it.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Bill? And myself, aye. All right, minutes are approved for March 10th, 2020. So the next item on the agenda is the superintendent's report, who is running this meeting.
Okay, I have quite a few items here. In the interest of time, I may not go through some of the items, but when I get down to that, I will discuss it with the board and see how you guys feel. So staffing update. We had Tony Longo has retired as of August 3rd, 2020 after 42 years of service. So congratulations to Tony and on your next endeavors moving forward. We currently have one skilled worker position open at this time, and we'll be advertising for that position hopefully starting next week. And we actually have, and you guys, I've actually had to eliminate one of our highway skilled workers position, but I'll get into that once I review just a few modifications to our FY21 budget. We also have eliminated our 5 seasonal positions this summer due to the COVID-19 pandemic. We couldn't hire those typical college students and have them work safely along the side with our guys, just obviously because of the social distancing and everything else. So it has had quite a bit of a bad impact on the department, I guess you could say. We continue to fall behind in the grass cutting areas and taking care of beds and things like that. But we're getting through. Obviously, this storm last week didn't help us out in any way, shape, or form. We've been still working on that storm, and I'm sure Daryl's going to speak of that storm when he gets his turn. And kind of give you a brief outline and what we're doing at the Department of Public Works when it comes to our staffing. We are currently practicing all CDC guidelines to keep staff safe during this difficult time. One staff member is assigned to each vehicle per week and is sanitized every Friday for next week's events and schedule, depending on what those staff members are doing. Broken lunches are into 3 different lunches to obviously to limit the amount of people in our lunchroom to 10 people at a time. Masks are worn in our building. When you enter the facility, there's signs all over the building. You cannot come into the building without having a mask on. Temperatures reading are taken by Mr. Keene every morning and logged on a sheet to make sure everybody obviously doesn't have a fever or showing symptomatic signs of having the COVID virus.
One question for you, Bruce.
Sure.
Anybody leaving on vacation and going somewhere else, do they notify you that they're going out of state before they come back to work?
Yes. So any vacation slips that are put in, obviously since the outbreak back in March, all vacation slips are brought down to the HR department. And Daryl kind of screens each and every vacation slip and asks the employee if they're leaving the state and what their plans are. So we can address those concerns, obviously, with that employee. And obviously, we did have some people that did leave the state, and upon their return, they must quarantine for 2 weeks. So that is something we are practicing, Phil.
Thank you.
Okay. Other than that, when it comes to our staff, everything is going well. We have enough PPE equipment, thanks to the fire department. Joe and Daryl is working hand in hand with the fire department to getting all our PPE equipment we need. There hasn't been any shortages that I know of for the town itself. So everything to protect our employees is going very well. So anyways, any other questions regarding staffing? I'm going to get into our FY21 budget and go through it pretty quickly and give you guys a kind of a rundown. I know I did send you the revised budget, but just wanted to obviously let you guys know, and people, obviously, if they listen in at a later date, they know where our budget cuts were.
I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
How many people did you have to furlough?
We furloughed, so at the beginning of the pandemic, let me just pull up that information for you, Phil. Let's see. I just got to find it, Phil. Well,
Roughly.
I'm not going to give you kind of timelines. I'm going to have to go through that. But what ended up happening when this all first came about, we ended up furloughing 3 of our office staff, our secretarial staff out front for about, and like I said, don't hold me to the timeline, for about a month and a half, while we figured out what was going on in town. So we furloughed like I said, our 3 clerical staff out front. And we ended up cutting our actual workforce in half in order to operate safely. So we typically have 30, well, during that time was about 30 employees. So we were rotating weeks. So it was 15 on, 15 off for about, I got to say, Daryl, a month and a half, I believe we did that for.
Yes.
Until we got our bearings on how to obviously work all together in our workplace and operate safely and get all the CDC guidelines, because this is all new to everybody. So we did what we could do based on the health department's guidelines and everything else. So I think we did a great job. And I believe after about a month and a half, or to maybe put it in better perspective, I think beginning of May, we came up with a plan to operate safely with all our employees back to work. So we ended up, yeah. So,
Were they paid on the furlough or they collected
well,
on?
our clerical staff, for the time that they were off, they were working actually 2 days a week. So they were
Okay.
kind of one person in the office at a time. So they were working in rotation, and then they were collecting unemployment for their benefits on the other side. Our UMEL staff did not get, well, we did rotate in, correct me, Daryl, like I said, now that it's coming back to me a little bit, we ended up furloughing 4 employees for about a month and a half. Yep. And those people were Justin Callahan, Matthew Oberzut, Franco Renzullo, and Joseph Vignani. I believe that was for about a month's time. Just like I said, to get a bearings on how to operate safely within the department, but brought everybody back at the beginning of May, and obviously assigned trucks and came up with a whole plan, obviously with operating safely, specifically, like I said, PPE equipment and sanitizing vehicles on a weekly basis.
My next question was, everyone that you did furlough came back?
Yes, yes, yes. Everybody's back to work full time. Yes. Yep.
Okay, I just wanted to know if there was anybody that left and stayed out and.
No, we do have, like you said, we've had some employees that needed to, obviously for childcare needs and things like that, had to take certain time off or certain days of the week. And we did have multiple meetings and told, obviously, employees, this will not be held against you in any way, shape, or form. We're not going to discipline for you taking this time. So we did have some individuals that needed to take time off for childcare needs and or to obviously help with other things at home. So
okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yep.
That was the case directly from you.
Yep, absolutely. So everybody's back to work. Everything's good. Like I said, we're still feeling the effects of obviously furloughing people and not having a full staff here at the DPW, and it's showing, unfortunately. So I ask people that are watching this at a later date, please be conscientious of what we've been going through here at the Department of Public Works, and be patient. And if you have questions, concerns, please call our office directly, and we will hopefully be able to address your concerns immediately. Okay, any further questions? Good. Okay, so I'm just going to briefly review our new FY21 budget, and I'm just going to highlight where I've reduced out of each division, what those numbers were. So out of the building division, we had to reduce that down by $15,000. So under the school maintenance budget line item 5240, reduced that by $5,000. And under the 5430 line item, building repairs and supplies, we reduced that by $10,000. Any questions on that before I get to highway?
One question.
Sure.
Have they figured out what they're going to be doing as far as cleaning the schools extensively before they would do any services out of the school buildings? Have they talked to you about that?
Well, I've talked to our facilities manager, and obviously our main concern is our staff going into those facilities once they open up. So
Yeah.
When entering those facilities, I've already talked to Mr. Dunn here, is to wear the proper PE equipment, glasses, safety glasses, a mask, gloves if need be, and sanitize your hands. Just follow the guidelines that everybody's following now, and just be mindful moving forward. Joe Dunn, their facilities manager, has obviously made sure the facilities are running, all the ventilation is working correctly. That's one of the big things too. And I know Joe has met with Gordon and talked about making sure the ventilation, every exhaust fan is running and everything. And we do that anyways, but just confirming those things to make sure the buildings are ventilated properly to get all the bad air out and obviously fresh air into the building.
Have they has the school committee come to you as far as additional support or additional services beside those
No, nope,
at this point?
nope. Nope. I know Mr. Dunn has talked to Gordon and asked and reached out and asked for if he needs assistance, but he has not come back and asked for anything as of yet. So there's a few weeks before school starts. I believe it's Bill September 16th. I believe the first day of school is. So we'll see
So
what happens. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Bruce.
sounds right.
Yeah.
let me ask you a question. By appearances, since a lot of the buildings, namely the schools, are going to be mothballed, for lack of a better term, I would imagine that by appearances, our costs would go down. Is there anything we can do to cut our costs by really shutting the buildings down? I mean, I know that school may reopen. We don't know where that stands.
Right.
But is there anything we can do to decrease our costs? Because if these buildings, they have to be maintained and ready to open quick.
Sure.
Is there
So,
anything we can do to cut our costs way down?
right. So I've actually reduced our utility account too by about, let's see, $42,000. So actually Mr. Dunn and our electrician have gone and shut down every unit ventilator in every building this whole entire summer, shut down air conditioning, rooftop units, everything. Obviously in the place to save money moving forward, especially with such a tight budget. And I'm actually going to be sending out an email to department heads probably tomorrow or the next day to ask them to be mindful of any heating systems or air conditioning systems, to please be mindful to not turn it down to 65, 64 degrees when you're in the building. Try to keep it at 72 to 74 degrees. Per the guidelines what you should be setting it at. So we're doing our best, and I've already talked to Joe a few times about this because we reduced our utility budget. So we're going to have to tighten up things around here. So we should be okay, but we just got to be mindful of what these items are.
Yeah, Bruce, I would think that the electric and heating bills would be dramatically changing, especially if it goes past September, because there's talk of going all the way through the first half of the school year.
Right.
I would think there'd be tremendous savings in heating and electricity.
Right.
In the buildings.
Right.
I'm not sure if you're going to approach as far as giving estimates on that at this point, but I would expect to be quite a bit of savings.
Right. That's going to be difficult to say. I mean, Joe's going to obviously do his thing. The good thing is we have an energy management system where we can program night setbacks and set points, occupied and unoccupied set points. So he's already adjusted those things. So okay. I'm very hopeful that we should see some significant savings. So that's our plan anyways moving forward. We've been talking about it all summer. So we've actually started it when the pandemic hit and everything else. We actually shut off the heat to the pool because we have at the high school, we have one boiler that runs 24/7, 7 days a week to heat the pool. The pool water is heated by the boiler room in boiler room 1. So that's been shut down for quite a few months. So we have been doing these types of things in order to save money.
Thank you, Bruce.
You got it. So you heard about the utility. I just went over the utility line item. We reduced that by about $42,000. In the next budget that was impacted was our highway budget, 421. We had one open position for a skilled worker position. So we did not fill that position this year. So we're going to wait till FY22, July 1st of next year to fill that position. We also reduced by $20,000 our seasonal employees, obviously because we can't operate safely with those staff members there. So I thought that was a good place to save some money as well. Under 5307, professional technical others, we reduced that by $5,000. And then under 5382, other purchase services, we reduced that by $5,000 as well. So with those minor revisions, we've actually reduced our general fund liabilities by about 4%. So that's really, there wasn't many line items that we reduced, but obviously what we did reduce had a good impact. And I believe I sent you guys an email way back when explaining what those reductions are. But I wanted the people at home to realize what we've done. Okay.
So, hey, Bruce, you kind of wanted to explore the utilities on the schools.
Sure.
Is there any reason why we need air conditioning in the schools? And, I mean, obviously moving forward, I don't think we need heat. It can be kept at 50 degrees.
Sure.
The pool, we don't even need water in the pool because.
Right. Joe's is addressing those obviously with the school department. Absolutely. And he's actually, like I said, Joe has actually shut off air conditioning units already this summer. So we are thinking of everything that we can to save money, obviously moving forward, especially utilities, even unit ventilators. And even when people come back, and I haven't talked to Joe about this, but if a single class is occupied and the next class isn't, shut down that one in between the classrooms. So we just got to get creative in some areas and talk it out, obviously, with the school principals and the superintendent. But we are looking at many different avenues to try to save money for utilities. Definitely.
So as far as highway goes, have you guys thought of any ways to cut costs? Given the new environment with the COVID.
Those are the areas that was my goal as far as a dollar figure where I need to get to based on what the town manager and the town council was looking for. So like I said, we reduced the temporary salaries because we're not going to be hiring any temporary personnel. So we reduced that by 20,000. And then under professional technical others, we reduced that by 5,000. And then other purchase services, we reduced that by about $5,000 as well. And then that one full-time position was probably about $70,000, I believe, with OPEB liabilities and everything else. So it is a big hit, but we needed to get to a certain dollar figure. So it's unfortunate we had to do that, but I didn't see any other avenue with especially general fund liability. So all our other, like our sewer enterprise fund, that doesn't impact the general fund. So that's didn't need to be cut. Our water enterprise fund, that didn't need to be cut because they're self-sustaining funds. Stormwater is a separate enterprise fund. So we didn't need to cut that. And then our waste collection anyways this year, and I believe that was a 28% increase because of the tipping or the disposal fees. We've increased that. So I really had no wiggle room to cut that out of our general fund liabilities under our waste collection, our transfer station.
You anticipate your vehicle costs going up relative to there being a person in every vehicle?
I would say fuel usage, yes. And I don't know if Daryl, you can speak to that. I haven't seen any increase in vehicle damage or wear and tear. But maybe Daryl can speak to that a little better. I haven't seen any difference.
As a follow-up to that, on the vehicles, would you be using less of them to some degree with the furloughs that occurred and stuff? And is there any way of taking our vehicles that have the most maintenance expenses associated with them and just furloughing the trucks themselves?
As of right now, no, Phil, because everybody's back to work. So everybody is actually in a separate vehicle. So I think we have the clam truck, the 69, and one other vehicle. That's the only thing I believe left in the yard. And those are just because they're specific vehicles for specific tasks. You know what I mean? You can't really use them for anything else. So we actually, like you said, when a truck goes down, and maybe Daryl could speak to it, but when a truck goes down, it's finding a vehicle for that person that's difficult.
Yeah, we have had to run into a couple of situations that, we have to service a vehicle. We've been planning it around vacations. If we do have a vehicle go down, now we got a situation, the guys have to wear a mask in the vehicle, drop someone off. Mainly we run into that situation with the Parks Department. We're dropping mowers off at locations or getting a vehicle back and forth from the transfer station so we can have everyone's in their own vehicles as much as possible. But the added cost, only thing I see is the added fuel bills. I don't see added service bills. And our guys are pretty good with our equipment, so we haven't had any, knock on wood, any issues for other reasons.
Okay.
Have you had any?
Thank you.
Have you had any complaints as far as people looking to see number of vehicles at a work project because of the one-on-one scenarios?
I didn't quite hear you, Phil.
Have you had any complaints come in about the number of vehicles at a work project area
Oh,
because of the one-on-one scenarios?
I actually, just for my own vision that I seen, I went out to Rural Lane yesterday. We installed those speed humps. There was a loader there, 2 pickup trucks, and a dump truck. So I haven't received any personal complaints from any residents, but I actually approached the site yesterday and I was like, what's a loader doing here? But then I'm putting 2 and 2 together. Like I said, it's not only we're using trucks and pickup trucks, we're using equipment in order to operate safely, driving loaders around town in order for transportation.
Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah, so we're doing everything we can, Phil. Like I said, the safety and well-being of all our staff is the utmost importance. Whatever we have to do to make that happen. If it's, like I said, driving a backhoe, a loader around, we're gonna have to do that.
Thanks, Bruce.
Yep. Moving on to the next item. This was kind of, Phil, I think you actually asked this question at the last meeting. I know it was a few months ago about Kane Metal revenue for calendar year 2019 was $11,956.60. So it's quite a bit of revenue. I'm actually, and I know Bill and I think Phil, you guys, I'm trying to see if it makes sense to make this an enterprise fund. I've been running some numbers. I'm not sure if I'm there yet, but I'm going to hopefully at our next meeting have some data to share with you and get your feelings on that, okay? But we did find a new contract for our disposal at the transfer station. We look to extending our contract with Waste Management. So Waste Management, if we continued on for a 1-year contract for the wood container, would be $225 per haul and no charge for the container. And under the bulky waste would have been $217.35 per haul, plus $110 per ton for the disposal costs. So I actually, by happen chance, I was coming into work one morning pretty early, and I ran into a resident here in East Long Meadow, which I did not know he was a resident, Steve McNamara. He told me he wanted to get together, come up with some pricing, and I said, absolutely. So I'm actually working on a 3-year contract with them. So as of September 1st of this year, their hauling cost for the wood container would be $175 per haul, no charge for the container. And then on the bulky waste portion would be $175 per haul and $85 per ton. So quite a significant savings, I think. It's a 3-year contract. For next year, it'd be $185 per haul for the bulky waste, $95 per ton. And then the third and final year would be $195 per haul and $105 per ton. So even on year 3, we're still beating Waste Management's price. So I think we got some good pricing, and I know you guys maybe have looked into it on your own, but the disposal portion of any items is going through the roof just because there's no way to dispose of it. It's all being shipped out to other states and everything else. So I think we got a good contract here with McNamara. So I'm looking forward to moving forward with those guys. You guys have any further questions about that?
No. I'm glad you did follow through on it, though.
Yep, you got it. And like I said, trying to get my numbers together and start discussing if we think we should consider making this an enterprise fund. It probably would take, for our next meeting, I should have everything ready. And then obviously we have to create a bylaw. And I think maybe the first thing is to meet with you, get your approval, get your buy-in, and then go in front of the council and see what they have to say with doing that. So I think it'd be a good thing. We would take a significant amount of money out of the general fund. And hopefully we don't hit that tax levy mark. So,
How many stickers do we sell a year, Bruce? Do you know off the top of your head?
yes, somewhere. Yes. So I'm going to give you FY20. I'm going to give you a dollar figure, okay? Versus it's $50 a sticker. So for FY20, our revenue was $67,210. Our electronics revenue, $21,190. Cane scrap revenue. So Phil, the previous report I gave you on cane, that was calendar year.
Yeah.
So for fiscal year, it was $13,679.12 for a total of $102,079.12. Okay. And that's just the revenue side. And then on the, mattresses also, we received $15,648. So I didn't add that to the total. I just have a bunch of numbers on a sheet. I haven't done everything yet.
So roughly 115 to 120.
Yep. Oh, Bob just piped in. So Bob says we sold 1,344 stickers. Thank you, Bob. Okay. So more to come when it comes to our transfer station. Okay. Next item I was going to go through for you guys. If you want me to, this is going to be up to you. I did give you a list of capital projects that were approved. Do you want me to go through them all with the dollar figures, or do you guys need to hear that?
Was there any capital, in a short reverse it, was there any capital that wasn't approved that we asked for?
Well, there's, yeah, quite a bit.
I was just wondering.
So what happens is we submit, obviously, to the town manager, and then
Right.
as for all departments, we submit to the town manager. Then the town manager disseminates those through the capital committee. The capital committee ranks each and every project based on their merits, safety, operational expenses that you can shed from your budget, things of that nature. So then, like I was part of the capital committee this year, we vet each and every project based on those criteria. We rank them, and then we come up with a whole list, and then it's based on what the town has actually as a drop-off point and what they can afford. So it's typically around $1.1 million. That's what I believe it was this year. So we ended up only approving a few under the general fund liabilities. But I'll go through those if you want. So under the general fund liabilities, projects that the DPW will be handling is the high school electrical switchgear replacement for $119,115. Replace 1996 dump truck number 10 for $215,524. We'll be doing phase 2 of the steam pipe replacement project for $449,430. And hopefully this is at the bottom of the list, depending on what the books say. I believe next month they're going to vote to make sure that the money that they voted on, they actually have to spend on these capital projects. The last one was the Toro Groundmaster 5910 for $117,141. Then under the sewer enterprise funds, we received all the funding for our sewer, water, and stormwater capital project requests. So under sewer was the Pump station communication and PLC upgrades for $339,000. Replacement of a 2002 truck number 81 for $58,358. We have our I&I sewer rehabilitation for $100,000. We got our wastewater flow monitoring meters for $533,500. Under our water division, water modules upgrades, year 1 of 5 for $131,136. We also received this on the water side, the pump station communication and PLC upgrades for $113,250. And we also have the replacement of the 1997 dump truck number 4 for $260,522. And then last but not least, under stormwater, we received our sweeper for $235,000 even. Any questions? Good to go?
Good to go.
Okay, that's it for my superintendent's report. I do have one item left for you under other business, but we'll discuss that then. So thank you.
I'm sorry, I was muted. So, Bruce could tell I was muted, probably everybody. The next item on the agenda moving forward is the deputy superintendent's report. Tom,
Good afternoon, everybody.
good afternoon.
Just a couple of quick updates for me. Paving is at a little bit of a standstill right now. We have actually 2 separate project areas that got bid out, attempted to get awarded. And when the contracts went down to finance, it was found that the money was not there. The money that was approved last year did not get bonded. So we're waiting for the bonding process now, and hopefully at some point in September we can get rolling with our paving projects. Some Ms4 updates. Year 2 obviously just ended. We completed our operation maintenance plan for all the municipal facilities. Me and Joe went around with a couple of representatives from Ty and Bond and went through all the town-owned facilities, and they basically come up with a sort of an operations maintenance plan so that everything's sort of streamlined and standard SOPs for everything, and that was a requirement. Also, that kind of gives us an idea for retrofits in terms of ways we can eliminate some of our pollution in the existing facilities that we have. So in addition to that, we had stormwater pollution prevention plans done, kind of same idea for both the transfer station and the service building. Again, this is stuff that sort of good housekeeping kind of stuff, just now in a big binder that everybody can kind of follow along and do the same. Everybody's doing the same stuff. We got Summers Road landfill has been completed. The certification report was submitted to DEP. We're waiting to hear back from them. So that potentially could be closed out pretty soon here. So that'll be nice to cross that one off the list finally. And then obviously we'll head on over to Allen Street and see what kind of damage we can do over there. We did not get any additional funding from capital this year for Allen Street, so we are going to probably not hit some of our dates that we had agreed upon with DEP. So we'll be asking for an extension. We've had that preliminary conversation already. We'll continue gas and groundwater monitoring basically until the money runs out or we get more funding. And that's pretty much it for updates for me. if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer anything.
Paving projects,
Yep.
is there any ramifications to delaying those projects with the contractors?
Not as of yet. I'm assuming I'm going to start getting some pointed messages and/or phone calls about pricing changing that was bid, and that's perfectly understandable. They bid on this project a couple months ago, and if prices change too much, I would assume that we're going to have to start. Maybe we'll have to rebid the whole thing again. I don't really want to do that. I think we got some pretty good pricing, but again, and schedule wise, they're not going to wait around forever. They got to work too. So, it was a bit of a setback and sort of unforeseen from a DPW standpoint. Kind of a bummer, but we'll do what we can when the money comes in. We'll have a meeting and with our contractors, and if they got time to get stuff done before the snow flies, we'll give it a go. If not, we'll punt until the spring.
Are all the utilities on those roads been updated too, to some degree?
So we, with all of our capital planning for water, sewer, we don't pave unless that work's been done already.
Okay.
So if Felix has water or sewer main replacement in the next 3 years, it doesn't make it on the paving list because we know it doesn't make any sense.
Okay, how about the utilities? Gas,
As in gas?
gas, yeah.
Gas, mainly gas. Yeah, I know they have been doing a lot of work, obviously, in the last couple of years. So we have meetings with them every winter and give them our list, and sort of we give them a wish list so that more streets around there than we're actually going to pave. So that way, there's no surprises. They know what we're going to do, even if we don't get to it. At least they know that that's on our radar. And if they have any major work to do, to get it done as soon as possible and get out of the way.
Okay.
Tom, I have a question for you.
Go ahead, sir.
What's the status of the Porter Road project?
Porter Road culvert replacement?
Yes.
Dead in the proverbial water.
That's pretty definitive.
Yes, sir. There was not enough funding. Bruce received word, I don't know, a few weeks ago that the bid was too high for the original investment or assessment estimate, and they weren't going to give us the extra money, even though the contract said up to $500,000, which we were under. So that is, that's dead in the water. Yep. Unfortunately.
I honestly think we should not be doing any repairs and just do a complete replacement on it personally, but that's my opinion.
Okay. Yeah. And I think obviously that brand new is always better, but based on the state's inspection and their specs, I think they saw that it could be fixed without a full replacement.
Understood.
What was the snafu on the bonding? I'm afraid to ask.
I'm afraid to answer the question because like I said, it wasn't a DPW issue.
Right.
I'm not going to say anything about anybody else. So
different department within the town.
Correct. The project was approved. The money was allocated, and the funding source for that was bonding, and the project didn't get bonded. The paperwork or the procedure never was done. So that was fiscal 20. That was in June of 19.
So when does that bonding usually happen after it's been approved by the council?
I would say within a couple months. So I think our project from last year will get bonded with all the stuff that's going to get bonded this year, which is the original quick estimate was hopefully September.
Okay.
But again, that I don't know what it entails because I don't do it. But there's presumably a lot of paperwork. It's millions of dollars. So I don't know how that goes. There's obviously been some turnover in finance as well. So I think they're trying to get they're just trying to get everything
Yep.
squared away. And obviously, you know, Corona. So.
Is that it, Tom?
That's it. Thank you, guys. Good to see you.
Thank you for your report. I am unmuted this time.
Let me take your place.
Anybody here, Tom?
Just me in my head. So the next item on the agenda is the Water and Sewer Administrator's report.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Can y'all hear me? You have to pardon my appearance. I'm using a tablet here. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, I'm sorry. Our Maple Street water project is just about completed. We just have some cleanup and yard work to do. We're waiting for fall time. Can't really grow any grass this time of the year. Water tower has been painted. Just some cleanup to do there. And Verizon's putting the antennas back up on the tower. So that job's about completed. We have a manhole sealing project that's going out to bid, I believe, tomorrow. Small project that's part of our I&I. Should be about a month long. Our meter vault on North Main Street is still in the planning stages. There's some minor adjustments that need to be made with some of the instruments that Springfield's requiring us to install so that they can read the meter flows as well. Ty and Bond is working on that as well. Other than that, there's not too much going on. I'm trying to keep busy with meter appointments and we did finally finalize a contract with Springfield Water and Sewer with our border accounts. We have a lot of, I think there's roughly 400 accounts where they have either East Long Meadow or Springfield Sewer and Water. And we finalized who is on what line and who's going to be paying which community. So it's a long time getting that together, but it's been finalized. And that'll be done soon. Other than that, I got much else to say.
Question.
Yep.
The problem we've been having for the last 2 years with the quality of water coming out of Springfield,
Yes.
that issue.
Yes.
Supposedly there's a whole commission or group that's looking into studying that for Springfield to come up with a bunch of projects, capital projects to address that issue. Are you involved with any of that, Felix?
No, that has nothing to do with us. That's Springfield. They're going to try and rebuild their treatment facility. It was all, I believe, in the 30s. And in doing that, they're going to upgrade their treatment processes to handle this HAA contaminant.
So typically we meet with Springfield Water and Sewer Commission once a year. They kind of give us their overview, typically Felix, like in February. They usually tell us where they are, where their capital plans are for the future, and kind of give us a kind of a roadmap on what we're going to be charged, and to answer any questions we may have, especially these HEA 5 exceedances. So
Because we're already 2 years down the road, and it doesn't seem like it's changing at all.
no, it does not, because they're not done with their projects. So we're hoping, and Felix, I'm sure you don't know either. I'm not sure when that's going to be, and when, like I said, when this problem is going to subside. And like I said,
They've already started trying some of the new treatment practices.
Yeah.
They have to try it in the warmer weather, which they're doing now. They're going to try this new practice procedure in the winter during the colder months. And they're going to test the results and see what the differences are and see if this new system is even going to work.
So they're still guessing.
Yes and no. I mean, they got some pretty good scientists working on it. I mean,
I
they just don't want,
would-
they just don't
I
want to
would
spend all
assume-
this money.
I would assume that, but you're talking big numbers as far as capital projects. And my point is, that's gonna be a pretty big impact on our rates coming from them, I would assume.
Yes.
And I'd like to know, as part of this board, the impact as soon as possible, more than just next year, here's the rate. And have it hit us all at one time without us taking into consideration a big increase. With the numbers that are being spilled out, that's in the news. I think we need to take a little more active participation with Springfield of understanding what's going on, the timing of it, like you say, that they're trying with these projects, the impact of them, and what's the impact going to be with the rates going down the road, either 2 years, 3 years, or 4 years down the road here, if we're going to have a big increase in our rates. Because as you know, Bruce, when we look at our water and sewer, 50% of that whole budget is Springfield costs or more. It's not our expenses in the town that's occurring. It's everything coming out of Springfield. And,
Yeah,
and I'd be really interested in understanding the rate structure, that all the towns are participating evenly, or do they anticipate different rates for every town?
it's going to be different. It's going to be different rates for each town, Phil. It's going to be based on what your town uses for water. And the same on the sewer side. It's going to depend on how much your community adds to their system.
Well,
They
is it
have
a rate difference or is it a volume difference?
It's going to be based on, for instance, East Long Meadow uses 600 million gallons of water.
Yes.
Maybe Agawam uses 400 million gallons of water. East Long Meadow is going to pay more.
I understand we pay more, but is it a rate difference or is it a volume difference? I didn't.
That I don't.
Did you respond, Bruce?
Yeah, it's based on usage. That's all it's based
Right.
on. So we get charged a certain rate based on the amount of water we use. What we don't know is what those capital costs are, or true-up costs based on operational expenses. Those are the unknowns that we can't plan on. They try to guesstimate, like you said, at our meetings once a year, on what those projected operational costs may be, but sometimes we don't know that. It's like you said, they try to hold our hands and to give us, or look into their crystal ball on what the last 6 months of the fiscal year is going to be, and try to work with us so we can plan our budget. But sometimes, you know what I mean? It's hard. It's hard to project some of those things. They do their best to keep us in the loop as much as possible. And I know myself and Felix get daily reports on how much chlorine is entering the systems, or temperatures, pH, all those items, so we can adjust our systems accordingly. So we are working together. It's just like I said, the water that we're getting at a specific site, it just isn't making the grade, and we're in constant communication to obviously mitigate any further exceedances. And we're trying our best. We actually contacted the DEP, I believe Felix did, to change that site location. Give me a site, because any of our other sites are not giving us that exceedance. So we're doing our best and working diligently with DEP and the city of Springfield to, like I said, to get this issue under control.
Yeah, like I said, I wasn't sure if there was a rate difference or is it a volume difference. If we pay more money because of volume, or less money because of volume, or is all the towns paying the same rate to Springfield as a cost per unit of water or sewer? That's all I'm asking. Are we being treated the same?
Yes, I believe, yes. It's all based on volume, each and every community. There's no difference.
Okay, that's what I was getting at.
Yep.
Gentlemen, is that it? Felix?
Unless you have any more questions.
No, I think I'm good. Bill, any questions? So moving forward,
I'm good.
sorry. So moving forward, the next item on the agenda is the building facilities managers report.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, cool. So I had a little trouble getting on before. Apparently this computer's not as smart as I am, but so some of the questions you had about the schools earlier, I couldn't respond to them. The way it sounds, from what I understand so far, all the buildings will be open all year. They're having teachers are going to be allowed to come to school if they choose. And I believe that special needs kids will be in the school also. So we're going to have to run the schools as if they were open. I have a meeting with Gordon on Thursday. I'm trying to get a little more information from him, but the way it sounds, they're all going to be open all winter. So I don't think there'll be any dramatic cost savings for any part of that. There may be 10 people in a school, but they're going to be open.
Why wouldn't they consolidate that type of service into one of the school buildings rather than all of them?
Well,
I mean, the school, you take the high school or one of the school buildings, you would think that you could accommodate those services for different classes in the number of classes that they have in one building, rather than have every single building open to be treated that way.
unfortunately, when it comes, I don't want to speak incorrectly about this. I don't want to speak out of turn. When it comes to some of the students, they have to be in the building they're assigned to.
Who makes that rule?
I don't know.
We need to go back to the school committee and
I think it's above the school committee, Phil. The students, we've had to change special needs rooms from grade to grade so that the special needs students are in the class that they're assigned to. So I don't believe there's any wiggle room there.
I still believe that somebody should go back and question that rule, given the circumstances that we're under, and given the operating budget that we do have. It doesn't make sense to comply to such a rule when you may have 4 or 5, or even more buildings, whether it's a city or town, to have them spread out to every single building. I just don't think that's really a good answer.
A lot of decisions are not made financially.
I realize
Made
that.
for other reasons.
I realize that, but somebody should still take it into consideration when they're making these decisions at such a high level. It still needs to be addressed up the line.
I'm not
I
sure
think
that.
I think the question still should be presented to them and force them to give reasonable answers.
I don't know that with the restrictions, I don't know that with the restrictions on the percentage of buildings, I don't know that there's enough room in one school to house everybody. And I don't know that one school would have all the resources to house all the needs of all the people who are going back to school.
At this point, I don't either, but I think they need to give us answers. That's like saying to me that I should be sitting in my house and put my mask on while I'm on a Zoom meeting. I don't think that's acceptable.
Yeah, I think like Joe's saying though, it's a bit above the DPW's purview, so it's agree or disagree, but it's not at this level, that's for sure.
I agree. Like I said, I agree with you, Phil, wholeheartedly, but we are going to do our best. And I am going to, once Joe comes back from that meeting, I need to cut $42,000 out of our utility budget. So we're going to be shutting things off. We are going to be shutting things off.
Do you know if they're serving school lunches? I've heard that might still be happening, or the kids will be coming to pick up school lunches potentially. I don't know if that's true or not, but
right.
Yeah, unfortunately, Bill, things have been changing so quickly.
Yeah.
There's not a complete response yet, so I don't know that they have a solid plan. every day something changes a little bit. Before last week, I was still in the impression that they were going back in January. So we're trying to, we did our walkthrough with we have to do a fire walkthrough every year with the building inspector and the fire inspector. And we did that today in a couple of the schools. We're going to finish the rest of next week to try to get everything in place for if the students were to come back.
Just from my perspective, I think it's just we got to use common sense where we can. If we can consolidate, great. If we can't, we can't. And if we can shut down a wing of a school, that's fantastic. If we can't, then we can't. It's again, we're not the ones making the decision where the kids go. We're just the ones maintaining the buildings.
Right. It definitely, if there was a way we could isolate the high school, we have the ability to isolate wings. Most of the other schools, we have the ability to isolate wings. If we could get everybody to go in one section of the school, that'd be fantastic. Not sure how that goes with the master plan.
Yeah, maybe those are some of the questions that we have to ask. But wherever we can to save money, like Bruce was saying, I've got to cut that budget $45,000 somewhere. So
yep.
But it's not. I'm sure there's a lot of opinions and people's children that require these resources that they need them. So
yep.
Got to be cognizant of that too, I guess.
I'm not against that. Don't get me wrong. All I'm saying is that we should present the questions for them to make sure they're taking them into consideration. Overall, and still provide good services. That's all.
I think everybody's struggling with what the right decision is. That's for sure.
That'll be one of the questions I asked Gordon on Thursday when I meet with him. If there's a way we can consolidate wings or consolidate even two schools, but it was like Mountain View and a Maple Shade, they're both secondary or middle schools. Can we shut one down and have everybody go to one? I don't know that. I'm sure there's a lot of different levels to that, a lot of different layers to that answer.
Yep.
But other than that, so last time we talked, the modular at Meadowbrook, the floor is being poured. It's done. We've been working a lot to get the schools squared away, working all the mechanical systems to make sure we have the COVID guidelines, I guess, or more airflow in the schools and make sure all the exhaust fans are running, make sure the univents are all running. At Pine Knoll, during a storm, we lost some power. Eversource guy was not very helpful. The second Eversource guy was wonderful. We got the pool back up to clear. It's running again. And at the senior center, we replaced the custodian at the senior center with a new one. Jeremiah Ferris is a custodian at the senior center now. And that's about it. During the COVID stuff, we tried adding more cleaning procedures, and we did when the town hall and the library were closed, we had guys going to the police station on the weekends, which we normally don't do, cleaning surfaces and trying to get that place squared away for them. And that's about it. I guess if you need more answers about the meeting with Gordon on Thursday, I guess I can try to get back to you guys with that. And we'll see what happens. Because again, we thought that, I don't know if every kitchen's opening. You know how it works in the schools. They have the high school cooks the meals for the other schools. I don't know what's going to happen with the meals for this time. If it's going to be a full school day, a half a school day, if their kids are coming in and out for classes, for one class or two classes, I'm not sure about that yet.
All right. Thank you, Joe.
Okay.
You guys have any more questions?
No, thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Joe.
All right. So moving forward on the agenda, the next item on the agenda is the Highway and Utility Manager Report.
How you doing, gentlemen?
Hello.
To get back to basically let you guys know where the last time we talked, it was the end of winter. We were picking up, doing plow damage repairs and we were just getting ready to start doing some catch basin repairs and some construction. Then COVID hit. lost some of our personnel. We have continued, once we lost some of our personnel due to furlough, we kind of combined what we had and really jumped in hard on the park side of things. During the COVID, they had us remove all the sporting equipment away from the fields. Obviously, we weren't painting any lines for soccer or baseball or any of that. So we tried to take a little bit of an advantage of get all the baseball fields trimmed, edged, and manicured to a standard I think the town appreciated and needed. Once baseball kicked in, I've got enough. Our department got nothing but praise from the rec department and a lot of families and parents about how good the fields looked for the kids playing baseball this year. During that, we also we had some water repairs. We had a couple water breaks during that time, which our water department handled flawlessly. And then we also had two hydrant repairs that we had to maintain over on Benjamin Ave and Benton Lane due to a contractor tearing one of our hydrants out with a bucket loader during a snowstorm. So those were both repaired. We have been doing some catch basin repairs. We've been trying to keep up with our stormwater requirements with our street sweeping and moving forward with that. During COVID, we got the pleasure of running around and putting up signage everywhere and anywhere. Tennis courts, football stadium, block off all the basketball courts, take all the basketball hoops down, and then once they cleared it again, we put all the basketball hoops back up, took all the signage down, took all the caution tape down around the playgrounds, and opened that stuff up for the kids to use, and so on. As far as highway, we've all kind of meshed the department. We really split up in parks, highway, water, and storm water. And during this, I've had to take the guys and kind of mesh everyone into one, and kind of just moving in as best as we can to serve everyone the best we can. And unfortunately, we ran into our storm on August 5th. Our guys, I'm thoroughly happy with how everything was handled. Our guys did an exceptional job. We managed to do it without having to work through, we worked a lot of hours, but we didn't have to do anything overnight. We managed to get the guys home to get some sleep and come in the next day and work with National Grid and the tree companies to get those last couple spots, such as Tom, I saw you on Elm Street, to get that tree out of the way there, and then get our roads open, at least get them open so emergency vehicles and personnel could do their jobs. Once we did that, we continued our cleanup for the storm. We are still running into a couple areas here and there that we still got some cleanup to do. And a massive pile of brush at our transfer station now, which we are in the process of handling. Other than that, we really have just been picking away at things as best we can. We've finally got the personnel now and organized enough that we're going to start getting back to our construction side and work on trying to get back at these catch basins, paving, and that type of work to better serve the community in the way they deserve.
Excellent. Any questions?
No.
No, thank you so much. So moving forward on the agenda, the last item on the agenda is schedule the next meeting. I'm very flexible. I'm sure Bill and Phil are as well. So Bruce, you want to just contact us?
Yeah, I'm thinking we'll just meet next month sometime in September if you guys like, because I didn't put my other business on the agenda. That's my fault. Just keep this in mind. We'll discuss it at our next meeting. It'll be much shorter. Is that real term energy? It's about the street lights. I sent you guys some documentation, but I'll resend that to you. Just take a look at it. I just want you guys to look at it. It's not like we can move forward with it right now, but just wanted to get your opinion and throw out some
Would you do
questions
me a favor?
about it.
Would you do me a favor?
Sure.
I don't remember. When I looked at it quickly, Bruce, was there what's the life expectancy of those lights? And is there warranty with them as far as, are they good for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years? And if they do go out, do they replace them? If you could include that in the information. I know you had a lot of numbers in there, but I didn't say anything about warranty.
Okay, I will do that and get all that information. So just to give you just a brief overview. So with this acquisition, the town, obviously owning the street lights, included in this price is a $10,000 maintenance cost. So we wouldn't do anything. They would maintain these lights for the duration of the project. So the next 10 years, that's built into the price, is them maintaining it, replacing bulbs and everything else. The only thing it doesn't obviously include, if a pole gets hit, the reattachment fees to the service and everything else we'd have to pay to the utility. So there is some hidden costs, but this is obviously just straight acquisition, retrofitting our existing lighting system. And it's really more of the second option with the smart controls, which I was leaning towards, because you can add obviously cameras and things of that nature to the system and actually have kind of an overview of the entire system. And when they go out, I get notified and things like that. I've been hesitant to move forward on this because we did meet with National Grid, and there's a lot of different nuances when it comes to owning your light poles. You need to get certified by the utility, your electricians, all kinds of things. So I don't think it's something that the town's going to get into as far as maintaining these fixtures, but I just wanted to bring it to your attention and see if we wanted to move forward, and or I'll shoot out an email to you, because I know Paul, my contact over there, maybe I'll have him be a part of our next meeting. So if you have any specific questions that he can answer for you guys, how's that sound?
Sure.
That sound good?
Yes.
That sounds good to me. You guys?
Yep, sounds good.
Yes.
All right, so I'll reach out to you for our next meeting.
Hey,
Great.
Bruce,
Yes.
I'm having my knee replaced in September.
Okay, what's the date? So I'll try to do a few weeks after, so you're coherent.
9/11, I'm having it replaced.
The 11th?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. All that being said, I'll entertain a meeting, or I'll entertain a motion to close the meeting.
I'll make a motion to close the meeting here at 5:25 or 23.
I'll second it.
Having motion and a second, I'll take a vote by roll. Philip,
Yes.
what say you? Yes. Bill?
Yes.
And myself is a yes. Well, thank you, gentlemen. Everybody have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thanks. Good night, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.
Take care.